So without further ado, it's now my pleasure to go ahead and introduce Dr. Susan Johnson. Dr. Johnson?
Hello, it's so nice to see everybody. I see that there are 6 prospective students with us, and I just want you to know that we're glad that you're able to do this with us. We wish so much that we could have you on campus, but this is the next best thing, so we're just going to go with it. If you don't mind, I want to know just a little bit about you to know where you're coming from and what you're interested in. So Harper, I see you there. I see that you're muted. Do you mind just telling us where you live, what year you are in high school, and what degree program you're interested in?
Hi, I'm from Rochester, New York. I'm a sophomore in high school, so 2023.
Okay,
and
excellent.
Interested in early childhood and special education.
All right, excellent. Good. My daughter's a sophomore at Syracuse, so I know Rochester pretty well. And we have actually Julia with us. She's a student currently. She's a junior, and she's from near Rochester. So we have a lot of New Yorkers that come to us. So welcome. It's good to see you. Emma T, how about you?
Hello, my name is Emma Chakovsky. I am from Mendon, Vermont, and I am a sophomore at Mitchell College. So I would be most likely coming in as a transfer when I come here. And I am interested in the early childhood education pre-K through 4 program.
Awesome. Vermont. Very nice. So you're used to snow too.
Yeah.
Good. Leslie, you're.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Hi everybody. I'm Leslie. I'm Emma's mom, and I'm just here to listen. I too am from Mendon, Vermont. I was just out snowshoeing. That's why I'm looking like this. And really excited to hear what Mercyhurst is all about.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Kayla, how about you?
My name's Kayla. I'm from Waterloo, Ontario, Canada, and I'm interested in the dual major.
Excellent. What year in high school are you, Kayla?
Oh, sorry, I'm in grade 12.
Excellent. We have many Canadian students. Do you know anybody that goes to Mercyhurst?
I don't know anyone directly, but I feel like I've heard of some people that go here.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, we have, I would say, like between six and 7, well, maybe 5 to 6 Canadian teacher candidates. So we're familiar with that, and we're familiar with Ontario as a province, of people being trained in the United States to teach and then going back to Canada. So that's not something that's new to us. So that's great. I see that Gabrielle is saying that her microphone doesn't work, but she's in Connecticut. She's graduated early. Fantastic, especially during this time period. So that's excellent. Good. Emma, how about you?
Wait, sorry, what was the question again?
Oh, the other Emma. I'm so sorry. Emma B.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Hi, I'm Emma Brunger. I am a junior in high school. I go to North Allegheny in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I was looking at special ed.
Okay, excellent. Great. I think that's everybody, right? Good. Okay. So welcome. You guys are from all over. And I think that that's one of the interesting things about doing this virtually is we get to come together, many different areas of the country coming together. If you can't be there physically, I guess this is the best way to do it. So let me tell you a little bit about our programming. Our 2 degrees of study are early childhood education pre-K to 4. And then we have an early childhood education pre-K to 4 special ed pre-K to 8 dual major. And I think of the students that are with me here that are my current students, they're all early childhood education and special education dual majors. And so I would say 98% of our students do the dual major just because it's really only a difference of about 8 credits. So you actually graduate with 2 bachelor's degrees, one in early childhood and one in special education. So you're going to be attending Mercyhurst at a time period where our certification grade bands are going to be changing in Pennsylvania. So for those of you that are coming next year, you're going to actually be certified pre-K to 12 special education. So instead of ending in 8th grade, you'll actually be certified to teach high school special ed. So that's really, those are the 2 degree programs that we offer. We are consistently ranked in the top 50 nationally in terms of teacher prep programming, and we are ranked in the top 15 for special education. We have for the past 4 years been recognized as a college of distinction, and we really truly feel like excellence is never an accident with us. We train our teachers very, very well. We train them across clinical experiences and across different types of students so that they leave us really ready to teach any type of student in any setting. Andrea, can you flip my slide for me, please? Good. So what makes us different? So your very first semester of freshman year, you're actually going to be working with children. And so we have faculty supervised field experiences that allow for you to develop skills across 4 years. So as a freshman, you'll be just observing students in different locations, a lot of preschools and early childhood settings you'll be in. And then as you move along in your 4 years, you'll be put into faculty supervised field experiences in more intense settings. So for special education, those field experiences may be working with students with autism, or it may involve working with students with physical disabilities. So it's developmental and it's on purpose that way. We start out as freshmen with about 10 to 20 clinical hours. And then as you go along, sophomore, junior year, you gain more skills and you take more methods courses. And during those courses, you're in the field every semester working with children. And then of course, as a senior, you'll student teach. And Megan Kamanderek and Brennan Doherty, my GA, they've already student taught. So they're going to give you their experiences with student teaching as well. We also offer a 4+1 master's degree. So what that means is you take 4 years of your undergraduate programming. So your Bachelor of Arts in Early Childhood and your Bachelor of Arts in Special Ed. And then as a senior, you take 2 graduate level courses. And that means that you only have 8 courses left to take as a master's degree student in your +1 year. So you really only have 2 semesters of a master's degree program left for your master's. And Megan is a part of the 4+1 program, so we can ask her questions about that if you have any questions about that. We do take preparing teachers very seriously. We think it's one of the most important jobs that you can have. And so we do prepare for teaching across diverse populations and really in our nation's neediest schools. And as such, we offer a Pennsylvania certification in ESL as an ESL program specialist or an academic minor in teaching English language learners. It's a 6-course sequence, and it allows you really to work with students whose first language is not English. And so that's just a way for us to make sure that we're reaching the students that need us the most. So I want to tell you a little bit about what Mercyhurst has done in the past couple of years. We were actually awarded in 2019 $5 million from the Pennsylvania Department of Education. It's part of the 21st Century Community Centers Learning Grant. And we offer 2 different types of programming to Erie County students because of this. One is our Carpe Diem Academy, which allows for our graduate assistants to teach an after-school program. So teach within an after-school program in the Erie City elementary schools. At least 9 graduate assistant positions per year across 3 of those schools are offered. And basically, it's just an after-school enrichment time that you, as an undergrad, can actually work with the graduate assistants teaching in these classrooms. So they're Mercyhurst led, and they're funded by a federal pass-through grant through the U.S. Department of Education. The second grant that we were awarded is something that we created the MALIA with, and that's the Mercyhurst Early Learning Innovation Academy. And that's an after-school program in a very rural, very poor district, about 20 minutes from our campus. And that's an after-school program that we run as well. we also created two preschool classrooms that are called Rising K, and 2 graduate assistants co-teach in 2 elementary schools in Northwestern School District because of that initiative. And so we make sure that our undergraduates have access to these classrooms. And so when you're doing your clinical experience as you're training to become a teacher, you're going to be probably placed in some of these opportunities that we have available through the grants. We also have an Erie City Pre-K partnership, which means that we partner with the Erie City schools and we offer our graduate assistants as pre-K teachers. We also have an affiliation with the Benjamin Wiley Charter School in Erie, PA, as well as an autistic support classroom in Jefferson Elementary School, which is a K to, well, right now it's only kindergarten autistic students. We have 7 students and it's taught by one of our graduate assistants. And it's an incredible opportunity for our undergrad students to go in when COVID allows us to and observe the evidence-based practices and the teaching that occurs in that classroom as well. And I'm actually the supervisor of the autistic support classroom. And I'm also the primary investigator of the Malia project, the Malia grant that we earned. So there's some amazing opportunities for you. We think that advocacy and professional development is very important at Mercyhurst. And so we have a lot of opportunity for you to engage with people that are teaching in the field and also with advocacy groups in the community. So Kappa Delta Pi is our International Education Honor Society. And Brennan actually is the associate counselor for that. And she, well, when she speaks, she can tell you a little bit about it. But Kappa Delta Pi is something that you need a 3.5 GPA to be a part of. It's an honor society that offers many different professional learning opportunities. And I think all 4 of my students that are on here now are part of that honor society. So it's a great way for you to connect and just stay in touch with the field, stay in touch with in-service teachers, and also build your own professional development skills at the same time. Some of my very favorite things we do as a department have been hindered by COVID, obviously, and that would be our service learning opportunities. We're a very close-knit department. We care about each other very much, and we care about our community very much. And so we have yearly service learning opportunities that allow us to connect to the students in Erie City, as well as the students in our regional area. And part of that is through our Council for Exceptional Children. So anybody that's anybody that's a student at Mercyhurst has the opportunity to join that club. And basically it's a club for advocacy of those with disabilities. And it's really got a strong inclusion philosophy behind it. And we actually provide all of the volunteers for the Special Olympics of Erie, PA. And again, COVID has not allowed us to do that. It would have actually been, I think, last weekend. But we basically, there's about 100 volunteers every year that go and serve as athletic buddies to those the athletes that are competing that have disabilities. We also do many, many different activities through our own departmental outreach. In 2017, there's a picture of students building a house. And so in 2017, I took 21 students to the Dominican Republic, and we went into a barrio and basically taught for 2 weeks and built a house. And so my hope is once COVID allows us to travel, that a department trip is certainly something that we're interested in. So as you can see, there's just a lot of different professional development activities and certainly involvement in advocacy that helps you to become a really good teacher.
Thanks, Dr. Johnson, for that overview. Lots of good information for our prospective students to kind of begin thinking about. It's now my pleasure to go ahead and turn over this portion of the event to our current students as well, too. They'll typically introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about them. Jimmy, do you mind starting?
Of course. So I am James Rush. I am a sophomore here at Mercyhurst in my 2nd semester. I am a early childhood special ed major with a minor in political science. That I am from Fredonia, New York as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much, James. I appreciate that. Brennan, do you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, my name is Brennan Doherty, and I am the graduate assistant for the education department. I am currently getting my master's in special education with a concentration in autism and teaching English as a second language. I also completed my undergraduate school here at Mercyhurst in early education and special education.
Thanks, Brennan. Megan, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. My name is Megan Comanderic. I'm a senior here at Mercyhurst. I'm an early childhood and special education dual major, and I'm also currently in the 4+1 program to get my master's degree in special education with concentrations in autism and ABA. I'm from Norwich, New York, and I'm also a member of the women's basketball team here.
Thanks, Megan. I appreciate that. And last but definitely not least, Julia.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Blotter. I'm an early childhood special ed major here. I'm a junior, and I'm also a minor in French. I'm also part of the Mercyhurst concert choir, if any of you are singers. And I'm the foundation's representative for Kappa Delta Pi, so I'm in charge of fundraising. And Harper, I'm from Henrietta. Not sure where you are from Rochester, but.
Excellent. So now you've met all of our student panelists as well as Dr. Johnson. As I mentioned, this event is definitely for our prospective students, and I can assure you that our current students as well as Dr. Johnson would prefer to hear questions from you. So please feel free to start sending some of those in the chat and we'll go ahead and pose them to the group. But I'll go ahead and at least get the conversation started. Megan, obviously education has a lot of time where you're pushing into a classroom. Can you talk about how you manage the rigor of education while also being a student athlete on our campus?
So I think it's been actually a lot easier than it's made out to be, because if you're an athlete, usually you've been doing it for a while. So you kind of have to gradually learn how to organize and time manage. I think our professors do a really good job of being able to kind of understand the rigor that is behind being an athlete and a student as well. So they're always willing to provide you with assistance, or if you have a game and you have to miss a class, they'll help you to make up work and things like that. But it is definitely doable, and it really does help you to be able to manage your time better.
Thanks, Megan. I appreciate that. Julia, I know that you mentioned that you are involved in the concert choir and you also have a French minor. Can you talk a little bit about if you had an interest in French prior to coming to Mercyhurst, or is that something that you stumbled in once you got here?
You know, my high school, I was really into French, and I took the AP and I got a 4, and it was just like, my teacher was like, you just got to go for it. I love France and Europe and everything, so I pursued it. And also for education, it's great. I actually tutor French here, gives me more experience with other students, and who knows what the future holds. I know there's opportunities where you could teach over in a different country, which would be amazing. Or I could definitely use my French knowledge and incorporate it into my classroom, or even tutor it maybe when I'm older or something on the side over the summers or something. And choir was also a big part of my time in high school, and I really just sought it out. You know, there's a lot of people that are music majors in the choir, but there's also a lot of non-majors. And it's just a great thing to get extracurricular activities, build more friends. And if you love singing, it's great. I loved it.
And I think that's a good thing to note about Mercyhurst. We want you to eventually find your passion for your career while you're here. But if you had any hobbies or interests that you really enjoyed as a high school student, there are avenues to go ahead and kind of combine that with your education when you get here as well too. And I think whether it be athletics or the concert choir, again, that provides a positive outlet and allows you some other avenues to go ahead and express yourself when you're not just studying education as well too. Jimmy, not to put you on the spot, but can you tell us maybe what your most difficult class at Mercyhurst has been thus far and why?
I think the most difficult classes, I'll combine it a little, are my reach classes. And these are like the liberal arts classes. It was hard for me at first to really get interested in some of these reach classes because I'm so interested in education, and I'm like, all the education courses have been amazing. I love my professors. There has been a few reach classes where I've had trouble with just because I want to say you're not as passionate about that subject, but through taking these reach classes, I have found a passion for political science because I had to take an American government course, and I'm currently in it, and it really just like sparked my interest. So taking these reach classes are amazing to just widen your interest, because you can pair this degree with really any minor as long as you can plan it out and get it done in 4 years. So like Julia has a French minor. You wouldn't normally think that in this major you'd have a French minor or a political science minor. I think that's a weirder duo, but it just opens other avenues. And whatever you're interested in here at Mercyhurst, you will find it. You will find people who are also passionate about it as well.
On the
I
flip
wanted
side,
to I'm sorry, Andrew. I just wanted to
No.
jump in for a second. I'm actually Jimmy's advisor. And so he was originally an ESL minor and then started to feel his way through advocacy, right? Like starting to understand vulnerable groups of people and things like that. And so he said, I think I want to be a poli-sci minor. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, but there is a really cool nexus between education and policy reform. And so I think that that's what Jimmy has found is this you know, crossroads between yes, education, but also truly making a difference in terms of policy. And so I'm really thrilled that he's chosen to do that. He's just needs to stay in education though and not go fully to poli-sci because teaching needs Jimmy for sure.
And I think, Dr. Johnson, it's amazing that you have the relationship with Jimmy to go ahead and kind of talk about why he found that as an interest for himself and how those two actually mesh together. I think that really speaks to what Mercyhurst is. You know, with a student to faculty ratio of roughly 14-1, again, you know Jimmy as well as all of the ladies on this conversation extremely well too, and you know what their career aspirations are. And when somebody brings up that unique combination, it's not something like, oh, I don't think we can do that. It's how can we do this? Have you chatted with somebody in political science about meshing these two things together? If not, let me go ahead and call Dr. Clements, because again, we not only know our current students, but we also know our colleagues across campus to go ahead and make those phone calls too. Jimmy, the flip side to that question is, what was your favorite class on campus thus far and why? Not to put you on the spot, you can say Dr. Johnson, but you don't have to.
It actually is her class. It's Psychology of Diverse Learners. That is going to be your first special ed class, if I'm correct. It is just so interesting. Dr. Johnson is able to just get everyone involved. You will not go a class without talking. I promise you that. It is an amazing class. That is the class I've learned the most from, and it's really ignited my passion for special ed. And I think Julia and Megan and Brennan would say the same things about that class. Like it just ignites you into and like gets you involved in that special ed part of the degree.
Thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate that. Dr. Johnson, I think there's a question in the chat that you might be best able to answer, but in your opinion, what percentage of classes are taught by tenured professors or adjuncts or TAs, and how large is the overall School of Education?
Such great questions. We're a small department. We have about a little under 200 students. We have only 2 faculty that are full-time. It's myself and another colleague. We are both associate professors. So we're both tenured professors. We do have, I would say, a very small handful of adjuncts. We have 2 part-time faculty who have been teachers for nearly 20 years that teach in early childhood. I am, along with one of the part-time professors in the field of special ed. And I'm very proud to say that we actually don't have any TAs. All of our classes are taught by either tenured professors or part-time contracted instructors. Most of the School of Education classes are less than 25 students. We had a very large freshman class the last 2 years, and we did bump that to 30. But most of the time it's between, I would say, 14 students and 20 or 22.
Thanks,
in fact, Julie is in a class right now with me with 14 students, which is amazing.
Excellent. Brennan, I know that you mentioned that you are the current GA. Can you talk a little bit about why you enjoyed your undergraduate experience and how that experience actually influenced your decision to stay for your graduate degree?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about it. So in my undergrad program, I initially came into the education department with a dual major in special education and early childhood education, just because, you know, it's just a few extra credits I could get my special ed, might as well just get both. But I just fell in love with the field of special education through Dr. Johnson's classes. And that's really what made me stay and find a passion in special ed.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Again, to our prospective students that are here, please don't be bashful. Feel free to continue to pose your questions in that chat. We would be happy to go ahead and engage and get those outstanding questions that you may have answered. Dr. Johnson, as you kind of gave that overview of the education department at Mercyhurst, I could feel your passion for travel and the yearning to go ahead and get back maybe to the Dominican Republic or someplace else. What advantages do you see when students have an opportunity to participate in a study abroad trip? What experiential learning opportunities do you think they take away from that?
So the trip that we took was pretty specific in terms of what we were looking for as an outcome, and that was to get into a very needy area and provide literacy instruction. Some of our master's degree students also did their thesis research inside, the area that we were in. I think that it broadens your perspective, and that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for a broader perspective of really what globally children need, and I think that. I think that that's what it allows for, really, is just to come back and to reflect on it and to train yourself to be a teacher that recognizes not everybody has the same, perspective as you.
Excellent. And I also would say too that sometimes students may not have studied abroad prior to coming to Mercyhurst or been outside of the United States borders, and that's okay. Again, one of the benefits of joining Dr. Johnson or another faculty member on a study abroad opportunity here is you are going with people that know you and have kind of set that itinerary for you. And oftentimes it's the first time that students have had that opportunity to travel, but again, their eyes are open to what's out there and their yearning to travel more is usually peaked after those two. I don't know anybody that usually comes back from their first study abroad trip that isn't quickly trying to get on a second one. And again, like Dr. Johnson mentioned, as soon as COVID is over, I know there are a lot of very eager people at Mercyhurst to start seeing the world all over again. Emma just posed another question, and Dr. Johnson, I think you might be best able to answer to it, and I can go ahead and add in if I need to. But can a transfer student apply to the 4+1 program?
Great question. And the answer is yes. In fact, if you know that you're interested in the 4+1, then that would be something that I would encourage you to declare as soon as you transfer. I am actually the advisor for all of the transfer students that come into Mercyhurst, just because I like to make sure that everything is taken care of for you when you get there. And so what I tend to like to do is draw out your entire rest of the time at Mercyhurst. And that looks different for a lot of people. But if you know that you're interested in the 4+1 program, then we would draw out the rest of your years at Mercyhurst and include those 2 graduate classes as part of your senior experience.
Thanks, Dr. Johnson. I know that you mentioned as well too that we have a few students that have actually completed their student teaching. I apologize, I don't remember which 2 students have done that, but I was wondering if you might be willing to share where you student taught, what grade level, and how prepared you felt entering that opportunity.
I actually just completed my student teaching last semester. And because I'm an early childhood and special education major, I did 2 placements. My first placement was at Wattsburg Elementary, and it was in 1st grade, and I absolutely loved it. I was a little apprehensive at first because I was like, I don't know where Wattsburg is. I've never really experienced any of it. But when I got there, I completely fell in love with the school, fell in love with the students. My teacher was so willing to work with me, and I just had a great experience. For my second placement, I was at Robinson Elementary at down by the casino here in Erie. And I was in a learning support classroom for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. And that too was just an experience I'll never forget. And what I found really helpful and great about student teaching here at Mercyhurst is it allowed for opportunities for after graduation. There was a lot of times where you're able to go in and sub at these different schools, and even some long-term positions have found open doors. So it was really great, and I absolutely loved every part of it.
Excellent. Thanks, Megan.
And I also student taught. I student taught last year when COVID hit. So I was supposed to teach a special ed class, but I only got through my early ed student teaching. And I student taught at St. Luke's Elementary School, which is right down the street from Mercyhurst. And I taught 1st grade, and I absolutely loved it. What I really loved is how we have seminar, and we slowly build up our ability to teach and take over the whole class. You're not just thrown right in and asked to take over the class on day 1. You slowly build up to that. So you start with observations, and then through seminar classes, you learn different techniques and stuff that you can apply in the classroom while you're teaching. Something that sets Mercyhurst apart from other schools in the area is a lot of the times that when we finish our student teaching, we get offered a job. I was student teaching with someone else from a different school in the area at St. Luke's, and I actually got offered a job at the school I student taught at after I graduated. But I'm here instead, but I would have taken the job if I could have. I loved it there so much.
Excellent. Megan, this is a question from Harper for you, but was it difficult to coordinate your student teaching with your basketball schedule?
It was a busy time for sure, but it was actually something that was able to be done kind of seamlessly. Because I had student teaching in the mornings and like mid-afternoon, I just had practices later in the day or sometimes even before I went in to teach. And that was something that my coaches were able to understand and be able to be flexible about, which was nice. But it was pretty easy to be able to do both while also attending like seminar classes at Monday nights. So, yeah.
Thanks, Megan. And I also will note, Harper, that roughly 1 in 4 of our students at Mercyhurst are student athletes. So I think that our students are very comfortable working with our faculty, and then our faculty are also really supportive of our student athletes' goals on a court or on a field as well too. So I do think that there is some seamlessness that goes back and forth. And again, please use your resources once you get here, but our goal is to go ahead and make sure that you have success in your sport as well as in the classroom too. And we typically notice that they are tandem as well. It looks like Leslie has some more questions. Leslie was wondering, how common is it to be offered jobs from student teaching?
That answer is very common.
Yeah.
What's interesting about the school districts we have in the area is that they often only take Mercyhurst students. We have many different teacher prep programs in our area. We have many other universities that are close to us, and it is not uncommon for principals to say, I really only want Mercyhurst students to be student teaching. We have 100% job placement rating across the last 5 years. So we, again, take it very seriously. If you get to the point in your career where you're not going to be successful and you're not going to be an effective teacher, then we certainly help you to find your other passion. Doesn't happen often, but we definitely look for employment, obviously following student teaching. Mercyhurst does offer, I shouldn't say that. Mercyhurst will help you to become certified in your home state or another state if you're interested. So I'm actually the certification officer for Mercyhurst for the Pennsylvania Department of Education. So I actually do all of the certifications for Mercyhurst. And so it's not uncommon that I have a student contact me and say, I'm interested in going back to New York State, or I'm interested in going to Vermont. How do I get certified in that state? And so we actually, Brennan has worked on an entire spreadsheet of the processes that you go through in becoming certified in a different state. We do have 29 states with a direct reciprocity with Pennsylvania. I actually think that Vermont is one of them. But basically that means once you're certified in PA, then you just apply and you get certification in the state that you're moving to. New York and Ohio tend to be a little bit more involved. And so when we know that you want to go back to New York, that's when we help you to become certified in that state.
Excellent. Jimmy, I know you mentioned right at the beginning of the call too, when we were chatting, that you're actually going through the sophomore review process. And I think that's one of the ways that we go ahead and determine whether or not education is a good fit for you. Can you talk a little bit about that process?
Yeah, so I just started the sophomore review process. This is the time when you really are committing to the department you want to go to. I am pretty sure all of the majors have sophomore reviews. But I know in education, this is the time when you really get admitted into the program, and this is when you become very serious about becoming an educator. So for the sophomore review, I have to compile my clearances to be with students in classrooms. I have to compile. It's more of like a portfolio that you have to compile of different things you've done in clinicals, and then it kind of snowballs, I guess, into your student teaching portfolio as well, if I'm correct with that. I don't know. So you go into that, you start adding to it as you go, and then by the end of your 4 years, you kind of have this big portfolio of your teaching experience.
Excellent. Thanks, Jimmy. I know that we are quickly approaching the end of today's session, so I do want to see if there are any other prospective students or family members that wanted to go ahead and pose any additional questions in the chat. I know sometimes even in a virtual world too, we're still running from meeting to meeting or things like that. If not, I'm going to go ahead and ask Julia and Megan and Jimmy what piece of advice they have for students as they kind of continue to navigate the college search. Julia, do you mind starting?
Yeah, of course. The college search process is definitely intense, but I just want to let you guys all know to just follow your heart. I fell in love with this Mercyhurst education program. The faculty is amazing. The friends that you make are amazing. It's a very big, close-knit community. You get to teach like right out of freshman year. It's amazing with your clinicals and stuff, which is unlike any other college that I toured. So just really follow your heart and you'll fall in love with it. It's awesome.
Thanks, Julia. Megan, what advice do you have?
I would say pretty much the same thing. I think the biggest thing when picking a college and your career of choice is following your passions. Figure out what you love and go from there because it won't misdirect you in any way. And go with your gut as well because that gut feeling is usually right.
Thanks, Megan. And Jimmy, what advice do you have?
I have very similar advice. This was one of the last schools I toured, and I knew right away when I when I drove through the gates that I wanted to come to Mercyhurst. And that's one of the best decisions I've ever made. The professors are amazing. They are always there for you if you need anything. We're a very close-knit department. Everyone knows each other's names. Everyone knows kind of what's going on. They're always there to help you. And yeah, for the college search, just follow your heart. Know what you are passionate about, and go with that.
Excellent. It looks like we have a few additional questions that popped in, and definitely not asking too many questions at all, Leslie. That's what we are here for. But if somebody has a high GPA, are they invited to the honors program that you guys spoke about quite earlier?
So they will be invited. Yeah, it's typically around, Julia, correct me if I'm wrong, is it around like sophomore status, right?
Yeah, you have to be a sophomore.
Okay, so you have to be a sophomore, but if you're transferring in, anyone that has a 3.5 GPA will be invited. And we actually have a pinning ceremony that happens usually in the fall, right, Julia? Where we go into education classes and we pin the eligible students. And that's a really, really unique opportunity. But yeah, so basically you're going to be invited. And from there, Julia, you can speak to what it's like.
Yeah, I highly recommend it if you have the opportunity and you meet the GPA. It's awesome. I'm on the fundraising board, so we do a lot of things all the department wise. So like we had a huge fundraiser with all the different education department sweatshirts, and a lot of people participated. And we also host like mock interviews and a big expo committee in the spring normally, where we have teachers come in from different places and you get to go to like different groups and learn about technology or behavior management in the classroom. And it's just great networking. And it's just really, really fun. Another thing to do with your education friends.
Thanks, Julie and Dr. Johnson. I appreciate that. In terms of when we're going to begin offering in-person tours, we have slowly started to offer in-person tours. We are offering them only to students looking to matriculate this coming fall. And we have a limited number of slots offered Monday through Friday throughout the day. So if you haven't had an opportunity to check that out, please go to mercyhurst.edu/visit, and we can put that website link in the chat as well too. But on that website, you'll be able to see what opportunities we have for in-person visits. And hopefully as the pandemic continues to get better and better, we'll be able to open up even more opportunities for students to visit in person, because as Dr. Johnson said at the beginning of the event, while this is the best we can do right now, we cannot wait until we can actually see you in person on campus. Dr. Johnson, we are really lucky to go ahead and have you. And I know that you have a really long commute to our campus day in and day out, but you continue to do that. Can you explain why you feel Mercyhurst is home and why you do continue to teach here?
Well, that's such a great question. I do travel about almost an hour every day. I live in New York, actually, and so I drive from the New York PA border to Mercyhurst, and I've been here since 2011. And I'm not going to lie, I have had other opportunities to leave, and the reality is I can't. I can't leave. The students at Mercyhurst breathe life into me. And I say that all the time. Being at Mercyhurst is one of my life's blessings. And so it's the people, it's the students, and it's the Mercy mission that really drive me to be a better professional and to be a better person. And I think that transfers to students. And I think that students find their passion through people who love what they do. And so that's why Hearst will always probably be home for me.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Dr. Johnson. I agree. And I want to let you know that all of our current students, as well as Dr. Johnson, are truly this friendly in person as well, too. So we are really eager to go ahead and again, see you on campus as soon as it is safe to host everybody. Until then, I want to recognize that no two college searches are exactly the same. And my colleagues in admissions, as well as my friends in education, are here to go ahead and support you through that college search process. So as you think of more questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd be happy to go ahead and continue to engage with us. We hope that you too decide that Mercyhurst is where you want to continue your education, because we do, as Dr. Johnson said, really feel that Hearst is home. Until I have an opportunity to either see everybody again virtually and or in person, I wish you all continued good health. Stay well, carpe diem, and enjoy the sunshine today.